And this is the first, sounds like the first time we've ever done radio. Here's the deal here. This is a radio show, and it's been 2 years since I've been on WOR every night between midnight and 5 or 1 o'clock until 5 a.m., depending on
politics.
Hello, Senator. Good morning, Senator. Yes, Senator. How are you? I said, I just heard Marky in the toilet next to me, Madonna. I said, this guy should, come on, stop it. What are these guys? I taught at St. John's University, and it's appropriate because this is a political time now. Mm-hmm. And I taught one of the nation's first courses in American politics and campaign technology. From there, I went to Chicago, and in those days, trade associations were in Chicago and in D.C., and I was the guy that used to put together political action committees when they just began for the chemical industry, just to give you a background. And that's why I know a lot of the scene. Anyway, the Iranian conflict is breaking out. And I had seen a lot. I have pictures of me and Reagan, Connolly with the book depository over my shoulder. I've met these guys. Mm-hmm. So anyway, the Iranian conflict breaks out. In days when the president went overseas, it was a big right. Kind of like if George Bush had gone anywhere, If. And so he comes back in the helicopter, salutes. I'll salute. I'll give you a salute. He salutes, walks up to the microphones, and he tells the American people that the Shah is the island of stability in the Middle East.
Oh, God.
I remember that, yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And at that moment, I became a political atheist. I'd seen enough, and I knew a line of crap when I knew the Shah, the brutal dictator, how the CIA and the MI5 or the hell it is in the UK overthrew the democratically elected government of Mossadegh, and how it was, the way. Here's the story in Iran. Iran, they had the nerve. They nationalized their oil. And they took it away from Anglo-Iranian oil and Standard Oil. You know who Anglo-Iranian is?
No.
BP.
Oh, really?
Yeah, F-U-B-P, Iranian oil. It all spells the same.
And Standard Oil is...
Wow.
And Standard Oil, right, the two of them were the ones, ExxonMobil.
Right.
So now they want the oil. So they overthrow the Shah. The Shah was a dictator. Yeah, I remember reading about the Savak, the secret police, any intellectual artist, everybody was arrested, tortured. So when this revolution started, and I see millions of people out on the streets, I said, well, this thing's for real. This thing's not ending. So at that moment, after I got over my, what a bunch of crap moment, I said, what will be the implications of this? And I realized that gold and oil prices would go up. And I'm a young guy at that time. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Yeah. So I started speculating in gold and oil futures. And I made enough money to leave my job.
Good.
And I realized that current events form future trends. This is how I began the business. And that if you could look at things for the way they are and not for the way you want them or wish them to be, or listen to the propaganda or the impropaganda, because it never stops. It never stops.
Right.
And what amazes me now at my age and all that I've seen is how do adults still believe this crap that's being fed to them by two-bit freaks called senators, congressmen, chancellors, prime ministers, and presidents. So what I do is I look at what it is, and that's how I began to forecast trends. You can see the future. You can't see it exactly, but you can see the direction. You can see the face, the outline. We're all doing what we're doing in life because of decisions that we've made.
Right.
Then there are the wild cards. Nobody knows what's going to happen, and that's why you can't predict it. But you can see it. We're all doing in life what we're doing because of decisions we've made. The same thing is true with a society. Yeah. The same thing is true with a community, a country, or the world. And people don't want to see it for what it is because they're locked up into their ideologies.
Because also the press, when the press writes, they don't write with a pen; they write with a shovel.
Well, no, but the real fortune teller for you was your aunt.
Zizi. I mean, it's so rested. But I had a whole family like that. A little kid. I was off the wall. I mean, your father's from the Bronx.
Yeah.
I ran away from kindergarten at 4.5 years old and crossed the Boston Post Road.
My God.
I ran away from kindergarten.
So you know we're in the same boat, right?
Yeah.
And my mother, Mom, yell out, drag me out of kindergarten. So, I mean, they couldn't tie me down. So on Saturdays, my mother would shuffle me with my father, which meant that I'd go around with him. He was going on business, which means sitting in the car for hours at a time. He was off somewhere.
Up the window.
You know, and as he'd get out of the car, he'd say, and don't touch.
Right.
So anyway, I'd be shooting my mouth off, and my father would look at me, and a handsome guy, look at me in Italian, he'd say to me, Papagallo, parrot, stop repeating what everybody is saying and think for yourself.
Ooh.
And so you heard enough of these, and I always realized I'm not going to say anything until I have the facts and the knowledge. And that was my whole family. And, you know, on my generation, I'm the first wave of the baby boom, you know, they rebelled. I didn't rebel. I knew I didn't know. Coolest aunts and uncles, mothers and fathers, I knew I never knew. Right. And I used to hang out with older guys.
Yeah.
So I learned, and that's what forecasting trends is. I read the Financial Times, the New York Times, Haaretz, I read the Jerusalem Post, I read Al Jazeera, BBC, I read the Guardian, I read Judge, I read everything.
You have to
exactly.
every
Well, do you read online or do you read print?
Both. I get the print. I get the print every day. The Financial Times, New York Times, and Wall Street Journal.
Where do you get on 42nd Street?
I live up in Kingston, New York, and I get them delivered. They come in the morning.
Oh, you're great.
So what I do is I outline everything. I underline things.
Right.
And so that helps you remember the
Focus.
salient points.
Right.
And what you said about the shovel.
Right.
So they say words like militants. Oh, that's bullshit. Who's a militant? So you go past those words. But you make a mental note of it because then you can see the direction the story is going.
Right.
And then what they'll keep doing that on and on. So all I want is the information. And then I think for myself.
Now,
That's how I begin.
what about, we have a gentleman with you here tonight.
Oh, tonight we have one of our contributors to the Trends Journal. The Trends Journal, by the way, and I'll send you the latest edition. It just came out. It's 44 pages, advertising free.
How do you do that?
Trendsjournal.com.
No, but how are you able to maintain this advertising free?
Oh, because we have subscribers all over the world.
Okay.
All over the world. We have a huge audience.
That's amazing.
It is, knock on wood and spit, as they
That's right,
say.
do glass.
You guys. I learned to spit from you. You're into the field.
Spit over there.
The artist that we have, Anthony Frieda. Anthony Frieda's works in the New York Times, in Playboy, in Rolling Stone. Right. Anthony Frieda goes loose in our magazine because I don't have an art director. I don't tell him the colors to use.
Right.
We let him express ourselves. We also have fine art because I believe that the only way things are going to change is to have a renaissance.
Absolutely. You have to educate, and in all areas,
Exactly.
culturally as well as politically.
Culturally has been
Is this
lost.
The View?
That's
Well, no, the culturally in the sense that they said in Italy at the height of the Renaissance. Remember when the Renaissance happens? It happens after the Dark Age, after the Black Plague.
Right.
Everybody's dying. They figure, hey, maybe we're not doing it right. And they used to say to describe the quality of their work, alle romana e alla antica, in the manner of the Romans and the ancients, rather than, isn't my little 5-year-old kid amazing? He's so special.
Yeah.
No, kid don't know crap.
Right.
So it's a going back to the past to find the great. And I have today with us one of our fine artists for the Trends Journal,
Moses.
Eugene Gregan.
Yeah, bring him in here. Come on.
Gene, come on in. Eugene Gregan today just won a gold medal from the Olympics. That's right.
For what?
For his artwork. They just
Great.
selected his piece, and do you know who selected
Wow.
it? You know where it is? It's hanging in the Chinese section. He did a piece of the Great Wall of China that's a cross between Matisse and Picasso and Eugene Gregan and the other greats.
Wow.
And here he is.
Here, have a seat here.
Yeah. Sit down over there for a minute.
And Gene has taught me a lot of things as well. But John Lennon had 17 of his pieces, Robert Mitchum, Julie Christie, a load of them. And Gene's a cat that grew up in New Haven in the Italian area, but he's a German guy. and Russian, yeah, and Russian, excuse me, and he's a real, he went to RISD, taught at Yale.
Oh.
Yes, he's not one of these guys that they call an artist that has a half of an ass of a horse hanging out of a wall.
Right.
This guy's a real artist.
Did you design all of your jewelry too?
Some of it.
Yeah.
I used to make jewelry and
You're wearing an entire collection.
Get a shot of that.
We'll get you over we're on radio. Thank you very much, Paul.
I see a camera here.
It's only a surveillance camera to make sure no one steals the jewelry.
I don't even know why I'm wearing the fakakta headphones.
Take them off. You don't need to. You're not on ESPN.
Yeah, so Gene just was awarded today. They notified him that he won the gold medal for art
Congratulations.
at the Olympics. Yeah.
Great.
It's the first time they've had. In '08, they did something with sculpture in Beijing, and it caught on.
Yeah.
And the Chinese came up with this idea of why not have fine arts in the Olympics. It makes sense, in an interesting way. And so I got this invitation to participate, and the theme was either the Great Wall of China or the Thames River. And so I chose to do the Great Wall of China, and I did two big 40 by 42 canvases picturing the Great Wall. They're on my website. People can see them. And I don't have a computer, but I have a website.
Have you spent any time in China?
No, but I studied Chinese painting for 25 years.
Well, there's a couple of things that I might mention. I've spent some time in China. Matter of fact, I've done this show from, not this one we're doing now, but from half the world. And I went from Beijing to Shanghai to Hong Kong. And a couple of things that probably you wouldn't think about. In the Hong Kong harbor, for instance, most of the buildings are Korean. Samsung, Epson, those are the Korean companies. There's more of a Korean presence in that city than there is in a Chinese presence. The other thing is, this is just one of the Chinese beliefs. The language officially in China is Mandarin, and in Hong Kong they speak Cantonese. And now that they've lost their British lease, or the lease is up,
Right.
and the Chinese have their territory back, they left it pretty much the same because they like the money. I wish they would have had that same feeling about Tibet and left those guys alone because they were wonderful, peaceful people.
Well, they think they still own Tibet.
Well, they want everybody
they're going
to be,
back.
Yeah, but that's got to be a sore spot.
But see, they also saw Tibet as a feudal system,
It's true.
and it was.
Yeah, well, it was self-contained.
I know.
And the thing that happened with China that we don't really think about a lot is that they've gotten more like we were than we've gotten like they are. I think we went there to sell them something, and we wound up buying. It was a reverse. When Nixon went there, we were going to sell him something. Remember? Now, the new another thrown-in fact. The iPhone, which is the envy of the world, is made in Taiwan, and the new Apple television, which will be announced in about a month, which incorporates everything, including SIRI, which means Steve is really inside. That particular piece of equipment is being manufactured in Japan by Sharp. And I went to a dinner with my friend Jack Wayman, the consumer electronics founder, and he's 90, and they had a dinner for him at the Waldorf about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I sat next to the president of Panasonic and the head of LG, and I'm talking to these guys, and the new Panasonic partnership with Sony for the flat screen TVs is now in place. Did you know that?
No.
So the Japanese are trying to compete. Now they're partnering to compete with the Koreans, who are jumping over them to get to China. It's a very interesting dynamic.
Well, who's Samsung?
Samsung is a song.
Here's a happy tune.
No. Samsung Blue. Everybody knows. Now, Gerald, let's bring this around here. Your artwork lends to his thinking, his philosophy, or sometimes probably not. But you draw what you believe, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. Or yeah. And for one issue, I did a profile of how they do the chalk line around a
dead body.
Dead body or a crime scene.
Crime scene, yeah.
So I took that and I put the American flag superimposed underneath, and it was "Who Killed the American Dream?"
Oh, I like that.
Well, it's sad, though. That's very.
It's sad, but it's powerful.
From that level, too, but when we talk about a bringing back of elegance and style, he has beautiful paintings of elegance and style, grace and elegance. We had the two women, grace and elegance. And so my belief is that nothing is going to change until quality goes up and that we have an appreciation for what was great about this country. And I'm not a dreamer. I know we slaughtered all the Indians and on, and and there were terrible things with segregation and on. I know all about that, but there were also great things about this country.
Sure.
On the way down here, I'm listening to a tape. I still have tapes. I drive a 1994 Audi Cabriolet convertible. We had the top down coming down, and listening to Billie Holiday and Lester Young. We're listening to Artie Shaw. You listen to this music, and now you hear, hey, motherfucker, hey, motherfucker. Take it easy. Take it easy. What is this shit? And then you hear these other musicians, they've lost everybody. I'm all in favor of masturbation, but not in public. And all these musicians do is whack off in public. You listen to how loud I want to play, and I'm going to play over everybody else because I want you to listen to me. And then you listen to the greats. When the solo came up, boom, everybody dropped down. When the voice went up, everybody came down. I was at a place this past Saturday, friend's 60th birthday, beautiful, beautiful place in Statsburg, New York, the Dinsmore Country Club, overlooking the Mills Mansion, the Hudson Valley. You could see the river and the mountains. We're having dinner. There's 20 of us that come on, and all of a sudden a bad rock and roll band comes on, and they start playing loud, and I can't talk to the person next to me. I go over to the owner. I said, excuse me. I said, there are 20 of us here, and it's my friend's birthday, and this band is really loud. I said, could you kindly ask them to quiet it a little bit?
What did the guy say?
No.
Of course.
No. Everybody has become used to stupid.
Yeah.
You go to a wedding, you haven't seen people in 20 years.
Yeah.
You're having a nice time. All of a sudden, you think that Frank Sinatra hit the stage. Everybody's a star.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is let's bring back quality. Let's bring back dignity. Let's bring back integrity, respect. Let's bring back passion.
Well, let's bring back white suits. That's what we got to do. Start with that. And a jewelry collection. I mean, what do I got? I got a little wristband.
So Gene is a part of that, and that's now we're writing. When you read the Trends Journal, and by the way, his website is EugeneGregan.com, Gregan, and when you go to read the Trends Journal, and I'm not saying this because it's mine and I'm the publisher, it's literature. Yeah. I sit next to, you met John Anthony West. John Anthony West, we've been working together since 1983.
Yeah.
He's renowned for proving that the weathering at the base of the Sphinx is 10,000 years older than currently dated. It predates the Sahara Desert. Charlton Heston, they did a big special on NBC, The Mystery of the Sphinx. Anybody could get it online these days. We sit side by side virtually every day writing. There's not a sentence that we don't rewrite 4 or 5 times over. Mm-hmm. So it's literature. The Trends Journal is literature. It's art. It's culture. And to me, that's what's going to bring America back, not the lowest common denominator. How about this one? Save money, right? What's that one for live
day.
better, save money, the Walmart ad?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
No, it's not about saving money. Buy cheaper.
Yeah.
No, remember when we all grew up and there were shops, and you could go to different shops and buy different clothes, and it wasn't all controlled by a couple of monopolies?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, so to me is when was it better? When was it better? When was life better?
Before McDonald's.
Before McDonald's, before...
You know why?
Before Nixon, before Johnson, before Clinton and Reagan and Bush deregulated all the laws that were put in place with Teddy Roosevelt when they stopped the robber barons from stealing the country. The Clayton Antitrust Act, the Sherman Antitrust Act, the Robinson-Patman Act.
Go, baby.
Yeah, and the Glass-Steagall Act that Clinton destroyed that let the Goldman Sachs gang, the Merrill Lynch mob all take over the country. They have sold out this country. The elections are coming. You know what my motto is? Stay home, don't vote. I will not vote for a lesser of two evils.
Well,
And what's his name? Mark Twain said it best. Mark Twain said it best. If our votes meant anything, they wouldn't let us do it.
No, you know, Gerald, I think you're a great guy, and you know, personally, and I have to say that when I read the Trends Journal last year, it's come that way. You know, I told you this. I pick up the old issues and I say, wait a minute, this is what's happening. You were pretty right about it. Now I'm going to ask you about. I want to be a little self-centered because we've gotten that way in America. It's all me. It's all about me.
Sure.
You know, when I put the show on the air here, which is the internet and the television and the radio, trying to put it all together. I mean, you looked at me funny when I put the TV in cabs a couple of years ago.
No, I didn't. No,
Paul and I produced that stuff.
No, I know, yeah.
And we had this idea to put television in cabs, and people were throwing bricks through the screen. You know, they don't want it.
Yeah.
But now everybody has one. And so I think the triple platform, which is the radio, television, and internet, so we bring everybody into a sense of community.
Great.
And that's why I wanted to have you here.
Great. I love it. I love it. This is wonderful.
this is live too.
Yeah,
We're
it's
on
fun,
live.
yeah.
Yeah, because I think you know we've crossed over that demographic myth.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about how old you are.
Do you know who my core audience is?
No, probably college.
What do you think? What do you think?
I would say college, like 19, 20-year-olds.
No, mostly guys between the ages around 25 to 35. That's my core.
Oh,
Yeah.
out of college.
Out of college, yeah. And I was talking about this election. I told you my credentials. I know the business. I've never witnessed a duller, boring election than this one
This is a
in
bad
my
one.
lifetime.
This is a bad one.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. No one cares. And so what I'm saying is that for things to change, the system has to change. Again, I was in the system. Republicans, Democrats,
Yeah.
It's all the same.
Bananos, Gambinos. It's a crime family.
Yeah.
It's all it is. And I love the terminology they have.
I like the
campaign contributions.
I like the expression, the Merrill Lynch mob.
Yeah.
'Cause that's what we ought to do with them.
That's all they are. Oh, by the way, Mittens Romney was over there in overseas, Israel,
Yeah.
and he was saying what we have to do to Iran, you know. And I figured out why Mittens is so upset about Iran. Iran just announced they're going to execute 4 bankers. Yay! Rah, rah, rah. I want to see some heads roll.
Yeah.
I say some guillotines right on
What do
Broadway.
they think they're messing with?
All right, now, you know, we respect you, the fact that you have to go to this
do,
awards
yeah.
dinner now, and I'm going to let you out of the room because you were kind enough to come and do the first show for us.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. And
That's great.
I want to be back and with everybody and keep making it grow greater and greater. This is the future. This is the future.
This is the
best-
human touch.
Again, the best of the past and the best of the future.
There you are.
There it is, the Renaissance.
Sounds like Charles Dickens.
Right.
Oh, it sounds like me and you,
Oh,
Joey.
my Lord.
So let's say I read your stuff.
Okay, guys.
All right,
thanks
Trends
a lot.
Journal.
Trendsjournal.com.
Trends Journal.
The
Yeah.
new one just came out. Trendsjournal.com.
What's on the front page?
Oh, it's a great one. Oh, this is a beauty. It's, people say to me, Mr. Salenti, you sound angry. And I sound angry. Oh, by the way, you know the MF Global scandal?
Yeah.
Where John Corzine stole the money out of segregated accounts?
Yes.
I was one of the segregated accounts they stole my money from. John the Slime Corzine, not a bit of time. They don't even come and call him to ask him questions. Hey, I'm the governor. I was the senator. Don't you know who my buddy over there in the Commodities Future Trading Commission that's running the show? That's Gary Gensler. Gary used to work for me when I was over in the Goldman Sachs gang.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, what the hell was I talking about?
We were talking about your fund being tapped.
What's on the cover?
Oh, the
Yeah,
cover, the cover. So they say, I'm angry. Yeah, they stole a lot of money from me. So I say, if Jesus Christ, the Prince of Peace, could become violent and pick up a whip to drive the money changers out of the temple, I could be angry. So the cover of the Trends Journal is Jesus Christ, an Anthony Frida piece. It's brilliant. And all of these guys with suits on and red ties and white shirts with the names Wells Fargo, Societe Generale, little placards, Citigroup, all of the banks, and Jesus Christ driving them out, running out of the temple.
That's great.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. Frida's brilliant. Yeah. So thank
All
you
right, well,
again.
you're great.
Thank
You
you
guys are
again.
great.
And all
Great
the best
seeing
of
you,
luck.
Gerald.
Yeah, great meeting
So
you
we'll take-
guys.
we'll take a
I
little
love
break.
soupy sales. Oh, I love soupy sales.
All right, do a little bit of White Fang.
Hey, maybe we could have White Fang coming out the door over here. You could be talking on the other side of the door.
He's saying that's our next show.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Great meeting you.
Great. Wonderful, Gene. Okay. Well, we're still live on the video part anyway, and on the audio part, we've got to bring my doctor dentist friend in here, because who's had more dental work than Paul?
Oh, goodness.
Paul, you've had a lot of work done, and I figured I'd bring a real dentist in here today, but he's not here for that.
How do they look?
Dr. Reynolds, he's a very wonderful dentist who has.
Do a close up on my teeth, Ed.
Now, no, wait, he has a lot in common with you. We're going to start this from scratch. You never met him before.
No.
Right? Paul, close that mouth. You're scaring me.
Yes, it's too scary down there.
It's starting to
You
scare
don't
me.
want to look
We're gonna
down
bring
that mouth.
Ted out here. All right, so what happened was Dr. Bernholtz, I met him through the implant business that I need done.
Right.
And when you get a little older, your teeth fall out if you're not kind. And he came along and he did some work. So he actually works in the area of correcting a lot of the implant work that's done improperly, and also he teaches how to do that. But he had a radio show on WMCA for a long time.
MCA.
Yeah.
That's I started.
Oh, you
on
worked there?
MCA. Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
So-
but it was the good guys.
So what was the show called when you were there?
Dental Implant World.
And you did an hour of that?
Yeah, we did a live show, call in, and I would answer people's questions. It was
You know
fun.
Dr. Langer?
Burton Langer.
Yeah, he's helping me get my implants.
They call him the grandfather
But
of.
they're very expensive, and it depends on how your bone is under the gum.
Absolutely.
Paul has the worst gums, the worst bones, the worst teeth. Not a good mouth, except for anything except talking.
You have to rebuild it. I assume they rebuilt it.
I am in the process of rebuilding my mouth.
Yeah.
And what are you putting down my mouth for? You seem to like
Because
it.
of what comes out of
Been there, done that. That's why.
So anyway, Dr. Bernhouse and I are friends. Once again, I experienced the
You
implant
meet
work.
important
And I said,
people.
why don't you come here? Because every time I'm in the chair and he's got something in my mouth where I can't answer,
Yeah, it's annoying.
He asked you your life
or he
history.
puts you to sleep.
Right.
That's a good dentist.
Actually, he doesn't do that. But, the fact is that it's absolutely, it's a miracle that I was able to get some of this work done, because I have the same thing with you. You get the bones. Not only do you have to have good bones, your sinuses sometimes have to be lifted.
Really?
Oh, no.
Yeah, and that's
I didn't get to that
That's
yet.
a whole other deal.
Oh, God.
I didn't need that either so far, but he's done a great job. But while he's talking to me, he's got a lot of beliefs, which I thought that we would have him on the air for.
Like what, Joey?
For one thing, the Kabbalah.
You are into Kabbalah.
Welcome
he's
to the
he's
Jews.
into that
Yeah,
thing.
Christian, too.
Christian.
The Rosicrucians.
Right.
I studied Christian and Hebrew Kabbalah.
And
But,
he's into the whole idea of where we're going as a planet. I wanted you to talk to Gerald a little bit. Did you
Very
have a
interesting.
conversation with him?
Yeah, we before, exactly. Yeah, a
Did
little
you
bit.
learn anything from him? Or
I
you-
did.
Yeah.
I did. And but what's interesting is, I guess my approach is slightly different. I consider our main problem to be a lack of common sense. We need a national, a worldwide, it sucks person. Because there's so much nonsense out there. There's so much misinformation. And now I see people are changing as well. You see when they drive, the malice is amazing. I've never seen this before. And the accidents are up and everything. But it's about common sense. They did this whole thing with healthcare, and they totally missed the real problem. You see, in Kabbalah, we understand that everything is reflective of everything else. You know all the problems and all the great things about something by taking a small part of it. All you need is one strand of DNA. That's all you have to know. You know the whole person. So I'll take one example of many. PSA. Now, these physicians actually take a PSA level without looking at the size of your prostate, and based on that, predict what treatment you need. Now, I'm not a urologist, not my field of expertise, but it's so boneheaded, I had to bring it up. Now, the size of the prostate dictates the amount of PSA. Obviously, if there's pathology, if there's a problem, it's going to increase. But it is directly proportional to the size of the prostate. Prostate this big produces a whole lot more PSA than a prostate this big.
Right.
Except for one thing.
He's holding his hands up, folks.
Oh, I'm
That's
sorry.
small.
Yeah, except for one thing. They don't look at the size of your prostate.
Right.
So they don't know the
How can
correlation.
you possibly send someone for treatment?
Well, they're very busy.
Well, they have no common sense. They have no it sucks person.
What's
They'd
happening?
have a doctor who said, wait a minute. You can't do that. You don't know the size of it. You're going to do surgery on this guy? You don't know the size of his prostate. So anyway, this is what's going on. We have a lack of common sense. We think things through. And especially now in the age of Aquarius, I mean, we've gone from, people say astrology, I don't believe in it. Come on, look at the size of these things. You know, we're water. This is electromagnetics. And that's another thing. We don't discuss electromagnetics at all. It's chemistry, biology, and no electromagnetics is the most. Tesla, 50 years ago, cured cancer. It's a documented case. Cured. Oncologists looked it over. They agreed it was cured by the torsion fields, and all of a sudden, they disappeared. It disappeared.
Why?
What does that have to
Thank
do
you.
with the Kabbalah?
Oh, all right. The Kabbalah basically, okay.
I want an answer to that question, though. Why?
One thing at a time.
Okay.
What is Kabbalah? Kabbalah basically is a belief that there is an entity that has a great deal of power, that is infinite, and we essentially cannot understand it. What this entity does, you can call it God, you can call it whatever you like, but God is what they usually call this entity. It emits light. We were formed in this light. We received the light from this entity. We then shared this light. No one knows with whom. We became a vessel to receive this light. Okay? Then we shared it with someone, and we were empty, and we had a lack. We had this light. Now we don't have it anymore. So we turned to this entity, and we said, okay, we like that light. Can we have more? And at that instant, we realized it's bread of shame. This entity gives us, we take, we can't give back to this entity. We can't share with anyone else unless this entity imparts it to us first. And that's essential to the theme that you shouldn't be going around taking things. You always have to give. You always have to impart. That's why the prime directive in Kabbalah is elimination of bread of shame. The only reason we are here is because we received, and we have to prove to this entity who we asked to allow us to become like him. We said, God, we want to be like you. Give us a way to prove it. So this entity said to us, are you kidding? We did this 3 times already. And just like your 17-year-old son who wants the car keys, we stamped our feet, and we said, we want to do it again. So this entity said, cool. First of all, don't come crying to me anymore, okay? You want to prove that you're worthy of this light? I have nothing to do with it. I'm going to send someone to tempt you, all right? And this whole thing started. So what do we have? We have half the people in the country on welfare.
Yeah.
Bread of shame. Bread of shame. You're not supposed to be taking. You're supposed to be giving. You're supposed to be imparting. You're supposed to be helping.
Where did you learn all this?
Rabbi Berg, the old man. Not Yudah and Michael are good guys, and I know them. I know them well. But I learned it from Philip Berg, the old man, who learned it. It was a lineage. It was Rabbi Ashlag, and then Rabbi Brandwein, and then Rabbi Berg, and then he taught me. And
so you learned it in shul. You learned it in
yeah. I studied with him for many years.
But how did you become a dentist? That had nothing to do with this.
Yeah, to make a living.
Well, it's funny. I became a dentist because I felt a calling.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I felt a calling. I felt that, you know how kids, you're around the circle and you mess around. You say, oh, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I wanted to be a doctor. At the time, I didn't want to be a dentist. I wanted to be a doctor. And, of course, the inevitable question, well, if we gave you $1 million, would you not be a doctor? I said, no. I would still be no, that's what I want to do. Yeah. And I've had this passion up until now, and now I think I'm moving on to something else. Mm-hmm. But But that is Kabbalah. Very simple. You're here to impart. You're here to give. You're here to look at the truth. All right. You go to a synagogue and you study Kabbalah. And again, it's not so much the Jewish thing with me because I studied Christian Kabbalah as well. But it's all about imparting. It's all about giving. It's all about sharing. And that kind of leads to everything else. I mean, these are just
Socialism.
phrases. It's not, it is and it's not. Because it's so interesting that really the only decision you can really make well is a decision you make through intuition. Yeah. Now, a lot of people have taken that as meaning emoting. As long as you emote, this is how I feel and it must be right.